Welcome back to Rob's Godzilla Room Reviews, everybody. Today we are going to be looking at the Bandai Creation Atomic War Godzilla 2014 figure. That was my Joker voice. How do you like that? So this was the very first Godzilla 2014 figure I got from the 2014 line. And yes, it's one of the more questionable releases from the Bandai Creation 2014 line, but for what it is, I think he's a lovely looking lad. But first off, I guess we'll go over what little articulation this figure has. I mean, if you can count the top of his head flap, I mean, yeah, there's that. You can, of course, move his arms and stuff. And I mean, you can move his legs, but that would give away the gimmick, which I don't want to talk about yet. I might start sounding like a broken record here, but for a kid's toy, the detail on this thing is pretty awesome. I mean, at this point, if you sculpt Godzilla's gills into the figure, you pretty much get like an A+ from me, because that's just great. We've got some fantastic scales up until this portion of the body where they get randomly smoothed out, but all along the arms and the hands, you're going to get some very primo detail. Goji's chest be looking shredded AF, fam. And it's here where we actually get a good shot of his fingernails, and surprisingly, they're sculpted. There's even details on top of the fingers. Again, something at the time that I really wasn't expecting to see. The dorsal plates on this figure look pretty nice as well. Yet, of course, they are rounded off just to make sure kids don't, gouge their eyes out with Godzilla's back. Minimum detail, but pretty good looking detail. Although this is where we see one of the major complaints for the figure is why didn't Bandai Creation bother covering up all the screw holes? And I mean, that could be attributed to anything. It could be attributed to laziness. It could be attributed to not having, sufficient funds to make the figure look as amazing as it deserved to look. But at the end of the day, I normally just pose the figure looking this way and not the other way. It's a simple thing to do. Looking at Godzilla's legs, we've got some very nice scales, some very nice bumps, although they do end up getting smoothed out towards the bottom of the legs. You've got some very nice wrinkles and details on Godzilla's elephant feet that we had going on in 2014. And then looking at Atomic Roar Godzilla 2014's tail, it's got a nice curve, it's got a lot of dust on it. I apologize, buddy, I'll dust you off when this video's done. And the tail comes to a curve, which I feel is mostly due to this figure's gimmick. This figure's gimmick being, when you lift him up like so, he fires his atomic breath and roars. And yes, you can even pose him like this as well. I wouldn't though. Now this gimmick right here is also the source of a lot of complaints when it comes to this figure, simply for how it looks. Guys, gals, it's a kid's toy. If you want something that looks correct, get SHMA, or Bandai, or NECA. Just saying. Me personally, I thought it was a funny little gimmick. I mean, could you imagine if Godzilla really fired his atomic breath like this? That would be horrifying. But looking at the atomic ray, we have some nice waves sculpted into the clear blue plastic. Oh yes, and I forgot to mention, this thing lights up. So, you ready for this? And it flashes! And before I forget, here we can see some rather lovely detail on the top of Godzilla's head flap. Got some very nice wrinkles around the eyes, on his brow, got his big old nose, and some very well painted teeth. And these teeth are sculpted, they're not just painted on. That was a nice little detail. Not too much different on the other side. And that is the Bandai Creation Atomic Roar Godzilla 2014 figure. A nice, medium-sized figure for any Godzilla collector to enjoy. You don't need to be a kid to have fun with this thing, because I had a lot of fun with this. I was knocking down stacks of cans and paper cups with this guy. Don't judge me. This is easily one of my favorite Bandai Creation Godzilla 2014 figures that were more geared towards kids. The figure looks nice, it has good details, it has a very fun gimmick, and all this time, the roar and the lights still work very nicely. So hey, if you can find this guy for a good price out on the web, I say pick him up. He's totally worth it. And that's pretty much going to wrap up this video, everybody. I will see you all later on in the week with another Rob's Godzilla Room Review video, and we are slowly shutting the door on Bandai Creation. It's been fun, it's been real. I'll see you next time. May Skriyank be with you all.